So why is everyone surprised at the experimental findings of quantum theory? It's because we're still operating in a severely outdated paradigm. We still believe there's an external world that exists independent of the perceiving subject. So philosophers and physicists from Plato to Hawking have debated this. Niels Bohr, the great Nobel physicist, once said, "Not so. When we're measuring something, we're forcing an undetermined, undefined world to assume an experimental value. We're not measuring the world, we're creating it." And this is from a physicist. And at the legendary debates, Einstein presented ingenious ideas supporting the idea of a real world out there. But Bohr shot every one of them down one by one and gradually convinced his colleagues of his point of view. Today, however, most people still believe there's an external world out there. This issue, of course, is ancient and predates biocentrism, which of course explains why one view and not the other has to be correct. So let's consider a little of the physics, the real experiments. Consider the famous two-hole experiment. When scientists watch a particle go through two holes in the barrier, it acts like a little bullet and logically goes through one hole or the other. But if you don't watch it, it behaves like a wave and can go through both holes at the same time. So why should a particle out there change its behavior depending on whether you watch it or not? And of course, the answer is that reality is a process that involves your consciousness. And again, there have been many, many versions of that experiment. Consider Heisenberg's famous uncertainty principle. If there was really a world out there with particles just bouncing around, then we should certainly be able to measure all of their properties. But you can't. So for instance, a particle's exact location and its momentum can't be known at the same time. So why should it matter or to particles what you decide to measure? Again, the answer is simple. The particles aren't just out there. Again, we can go on and on. One more, entangled particles you've probably heard of. How can particles possibly instantaneously be connected at opposite sides of the galaxy out there in violation of the speed of light? Again, they're not just out there. Space and time are tools of our mind. They're forms of animal understanding.